YouTubers, now today we're going to be talking how to do a compression test. And like my other videos, I'm banging on quite a lot about how important it is to have the right oil in your car. And I get it asked all the time. People have commented on the videos, and people even ask when they come into the garage that, you know, oil isn't important, you know, I'm too expensive, there's guys down the road doing it cheaper, but they're using the wrong oil. And this is the key why you have to use the wrong oil. The car behind me is a 2007 Toyota Corolla 1.4 vvit, and basically the engine's gone. And the reason the engine's gone is because of crappy oil. Not because it hasn't been serviced. It could have been serviced every 5,000 miles. It could have been serviced really regularly, but they've used the wrong oil, which has damaged the engine. Now what I'm going to do is, basically this car is not running very well. There's no engine light on and there's no power. Now when he drives it and comes to traffic lights, it cuts out. It starts again, but when it goes from a high speed down to low speed, it just cuts out. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a compression test so you can see what a compression test is and basically what is good or bad. Now I don't know the exact pressure in this engine, but you don't really need to know, to be fair. If you're doing a compression test of your engine and let's say 3 of them are at 14 bar and one of them is at 4, well then you know you've got a problem with one of them. You know? So you don't really need to know the exact pressure unless they're fairly close. But you know, normally when you lose compression, it's normally you lose a lot of it. So basically, this is a compression tester. This is a petrol compression tester, and it just has the end on. And what you need to do to the car, basically all we've done is we've taken out all the coil packs and we've disconnected everything, and we've taken out the 4 spark plugs. It's as simple as that. And this literally then screws straight down. Now I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you can see that. You can't see it on camera. I'll leave it. You can see that. Right. I'm going to turn the engine. Let's see what happens. Now as you can see, I've turned the engine, it didn't start, which because obviously there's no plugs in it, so it won't start. And we are on, well, about 3 bar, which is terrible, which is absolutely terrible. So I'm going to reset this by just pressing the button. And let's go on to cylinder number 3. But I'll do number 2 first to let you know. There's 2 cylinders are bad in this engine. So let's do that again. Now we can see this one's a little bit better at about 7 bar, but still terrible. So press the button on the side of it again. The air out. Now. Let's see what cylinder 3 has to say for itself. I can't really leave it there so you can see, unfortunately, it's the way it's screwed in. Now as we can see, 15 bar. That's good. And the other one is exactly the same. It's 15 bar. So we know we have a problem with cylinder 1 and 2. So that's how you do a compression test. Very simple, very quick, nothing to it. And if you really want to know, if you just Google it, you will find your compression ratios. You'll know exactly if you really want to. But obviously on this, we don't need to know that because we know cylinder 1 and 2 are absolutely really bad. So we know we've got a problem. And believe it or not, our problem is bad oil. Now, when you've lost compression in your engine, a few things could happen. You could have a problem with your piston. The compression ring could be broke or seized or something. You could have a problem with your head gasket. You could have a problem with your timing. You could have a problem with your valves. There's a few things you could have problems with, but we know we've got a problem. But basically what happens when you use cheap oil, and especially on these Corolla engines, is that the oil pickup in the bottom is like a little gauze on it, and that's what basically drains it basically strains the oil as it goes up. It stops big lumps of crap of oil getting up to the top of the engine. And believe it or not, what it actually does is on these engines is it blocks up, it puts the oil pump under that much pressure, it can actually snap the chain. Now we don't have a snap chain on this, but they can snap the chain, or they can even just skip a couple of teeth on the chain, which then bends your valves. So, you know, it's catastrophic. And this is why it's important to change your oil regularly, but not only that, put the correct oil in. If you have one of these cars, what I suggest you do is every second or third service, if you do it yourself or get someone else, tell them to drop the sump and clean the doors. Because if you do that, you will not have problems with these engines. I can tell you now. This engine now has to be replaced. So it's a new engine, or second-hand engine, all the labour and everything that goes into that, and it's going to be very expensive for the sake of someone trying to save a couple of quid on oil. It's not worth it. I'm telling you now, it's not worth it. So it is vitally important you get the right oil. There's so many different oils out there. If you go into your local motor factories and you see oil that looks the same, one's maybe 60 quid and one's 20 quid, well, there is a difference, believe me, there is a difference. So look, hope this helps. That's basically how to do a compression test, and important, get your oil right. So hope it helps. Thumbs up and subscribe, and don't forget to get your hands dirty. See you for the next one.